Introduction of Niels Klim's Journey Under the Ground. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Alan Winterrowd. Niels Klim's Journey Under the Ground, being a narrative of his wonderful descent to the subterranean land, together with an account of the sensible animals and trees inhabiting the planet Nazar and the firmament, by Ludvig Holberg. Translated from the Danish by John Geirlau, with a sketch of the author's life. Introduction. Ludvig Holberg, the author of the narrative of Niels Klim, was the most eminent writer among the Danes in the 18th century. His works show a surprising versatility of genius, comprising histories and treatises on jurisprudence, together with satires and comedies. He was by birth a Norwegian, but was educated at the University at Copenhagen in Denmark. Soon after receiving a theological degree from that institution, he visited Holland and England, and resided about 2 years at Oxford. Shortly after his return he published an Introduction to European History and an Appendix to the Universal History, in which he gives an account of contemporaneous affairs in the principal governments of the world. His historical labors were interrupted by a royal appointment to a professorship in the university. This office he enjoyed for 5 years, and then went abroad. In his autobiography he has given an interesting account of his travels, both at this time and subsequently, and has described men and manners in a way highly entertaining and generally just. He visited most of the cities of southern Europe, abiding some time in each. He was well received by men of letters, and made many valuable acquaintance wherever he went. After remaining 1 whole winter at Rome, and accomplishing the object of his mission, he returned to Copenhagen. His income was now small, and for 2 years he was oppressed with great pecuniary difficulties. It was during this period that he published in the Danish language his Introduction to the Law of Nature and of Nations. In this treatise, Holberg aimed rather to apply the principles of natural law to the laws and constitutions of Norway and Denmark, than elaborately to discuss the principles themselves. The work was coldly received at its first appearance, but after 10 or 12 years began to excite public attention, and passed through several editions. At length, the professorship of metaphysics becoming vacant, he received the appointment. The emoluments of this office, though small, supplied his necessities, and not long after, on obtaining a more lucrative station in the university, he was relieved from his embarrassments. Hitherto he had devoted himself almost exclusively to jurisprudence, history, and languages, and had never tried his hand at poetical composition. Indeed, he had ever felt a strange aversion to the study of poetry, and although he had read the Latin poets and composed Latin poems, it was more for the sake of proficiency in the language than for pleasure, or, in his own words, as a sick man swallows bitter draughts, not because they are grateful to the palate, but because they are recommended by the physicians. He now, however, seemed inspired by a new ambition, and set himself to imitate one of Juvenal's satires. Encouraged by his unexpected facility, he projected and composed an original poem. Its success, when published, surpassed that of any work previously written in the Danish language. Judicious critics heartily commended it, and some even looked upon it as introducing a new era in the national literature. It was also published in Sweden and Germany, and raised the author's reputation abroad. He next published 5 more satires, prefixing to each a short preface, unfolding the writer's design. His poetical productions were a source of more honor than gain, and becoming weary of almost profitless pursuits, he abandoned poetry and devoted himself to his former studies. Nevertheless, the solicitations of friends prevailed upon him to turn his attention to dramatic composition. Here he was equally successful. His comedies were received with great applause, and still hold possession of the stage. Like his satires, they were intended to expose fashionable vice and folly. They are 25 in number. The names of several will give some notion of their general character: the babbling barber, always busy and doing nothing; the treacherous stepfather;
Sample complete. Ready to continue?